Assault weapons are bad. They're evil, they have a mind of their own, and no one should own them. Let's ban them forever and do society a favor. That's for the left-wing media that'll watch the first 5 seconds of this video and try to censor it. Alright, I'm going to show you how you can obtain whatever firearms you want regardless of what your state or the federal government has to say. These firearms are all legal for law enforcement and military personnel to own, and they have to buy it from somewhere. You can become an FFL. It does not cost very much, and there are a few things that you need to do annually, but it really will only take 5 to 10 hours a year for you to be able to do this. There are a couple hoops you need to jump through, and you have to be able to pass a background check, of course, and all of that. And so this is something that's really easy, and there's a couple of requirements. One of them is you have to do business with your FFL. It can't be 100% self-serving. You can buy firearms wholesale for yourself, but it can't be 100% self-serving. So whether you have a friend that wants to buy a firearm and you just do the transfer and you charge them $5, you have to charge them, so you can just charge them $1 if you want. And that way you can keep your FFL going every year. You can have a home-based FFL, so the ATF completely allows that. So if you want to own assault weapons, if your state has banned those, you can do that in most states if they still allow law enforcement and military personnel to own them. Second is your SOT, which is a tax classification. You need that in order to obtain NFA items. Let me clarify what I mean here. As a private citizen, you can still own NFA items with the $200 tax stamp. What I'm talking about is items that you cannot own even with the $200 tax stamp, such as machine guns built after 1986, or machine guns at all in California, or short-barrel shotguns in the state of Washington. These are not legal to be owned, even with the $200 tax stamp. But these are legal for military personnel and law enforcement to own. So you can sell it to them, which means that you cannot own it, but your FFL, if you have the SOT classification, your FFL can own those, and you can have them in your possession as inventory for your FFL/gun shop. So a regular FFL can't deal NFA items. A regular FFL has to have their SOT tax classification in order to deal NFA items. Or other banned weapons that aren't even NFA items, like machine guns built after 1986. That costs anywhere from $500 to $1,000. It depends on how many weapons you deal. There may be some other fees with it. All these costs really just depend on where you are and what you deal with and how many firearms you deal every year. It could cost anywhere from $30 if you just get the FFL to $1,200 if you get the most expensive FFL and pay the highest fee for SOT. So, look into it. If it's $1,200, that might be too much for a lot of people. If it's $30 or lowest cost, if you get your FFL and SOT, it could just be $530. That might still be too much for a lot of people. So if you just want to do your FFL for $30, then you can do that. Just depends on the person and where you are. So look into it. I'm not an attorney, so you'll have to do your own research, but I'm going to take you on my computer and I'll kind of show you the information on it, and more of the requirements and everything. So let's go.
All right, so we're going to go over the different types of FFLs, what they are, and how to get it. So here's the 9 types of FFLs. The main 4 categories you have are dealers, collectors, manufacturers, and importers. And, there's 9 types within those 4 categories. Here's what each one of those can do. So type 1 is the most common FFL type in the nation. You can see down here that type 1 has 52,971. The second most common is type 7 with 14,000. So type 1 is a dealer. Type 1 is just dealer/gunsmith of firearms. That's the most simple one that there is. That's, just a gun shop or gunsmith is going to be a type 1. So type 1 can only do that. Same with type 2. Type 7 can deal and manufacture, and same with type 10. And then if you want to import and deal, then you can go type 11. Most of the people here listening will want to do the home-based FFL unless you want to buy a storefront and start a retail store or do gunsmithing. But home-based FFLs are actually the most common type of FFL. And so the requirements for that are right here. You have to be a U.S. citizen, be at least 21 years old, be legally allowed to own a firearm and ammo, have a location, which can be your home. And with this one, it's highly suggested to have a space in your home set apart strictly for FFL activities. The ATF does checkups sometimes, and it looks good to them when you have this set apart location. Ensure your business is meeting all zoning requirements, and if you have a landlord, you have to be careful that you're not violating your lease as well, because the ATF will have a problem with that. Another requirement, you haven't violated the Gun Control Act, and then you didn't lie on your FFL application. So if you live in a state where semi-automatic assault weapons, air quotes, have been banned in some way, then this might work for you. I'm not an attorney. You're going to have to do your own research, but in most states, this will work for semi-automatic assault weapons. If you want to have them in your possession, you do not personally own them. Your business owns them, but you have them in your possession in your home. You also have to do business. It cannot be 100% self-serving, whether that is you have a couple friends that buy a gun once a year and you just do the transfer, and you have to charge them, so you could just charge them $1 to do the transfer. That's one way you can do business. You can do gunsmithing. If you know how to fix guns and you're really good at that, you can offer that service. It also looks good to the ATF if you have an hour or two that you have open hours at your gun store at your home. It also looks good to the ATF if you just create a Facebook page and post open hours for 1 or 2 hours every Saturday or every other Saturday, and then say you accept appointments if people want to come look at your inventory. And you can have whatever those guns are that you want to have. You just claim that they're your business's inventory. If you want to have NFA items or machine guns that were manufactured after 1986, you have to get your SOT. So here's how to get your SOT. There are 3 types: importer, manufacturer, and dealer. So with these 3 types, here is the type of FFL that can get each one. If you're a type 1 or a type 7 or 10, then you get the class 2 or 3. How to get one? You just need an FFL. And then if I keep scrolling down, here's the cost for your SOT. So if your business, your FFL makes under $500,000 a year, which is probably everyone watching this, then you're going to pay $500 a year. That's kind of the thing that you can do if you want to have these firearms in your possession that would be otherwise banned. You still have to review your state's laws, because some of these weapons, or all of them maybe, might be banned even for any FFL to sell. So you just need to do your own research and make sure that these are all legal. In the vast majority of states, this is all going to be allowed.
Because these weapons are legally allowed to be sold to military and law enforcement personnel.
Even if you live in a really conservative state, somewhere in the Midwest or the South or up north or anything, this still could benefit you, because with this, you can purchase machine guns that have been built after 1986. You can legally have those in your possession. You can even build them. If you get the right FFL, you can build them yourself. And you can keep them as inventory. You can even, if you have an acre or two of land, you could set up a little shooting range if zoning laws allow that. You can set up a berm and set up a shooting range, and you can say that you own them as demo guns for law enforcement and military personnel to come and test them out to see if they want to buy one. And that's a good way to keep them in your possession legally, because you can sell these to law enforcement and military personnel in almost every state. You just have to be able to prove that you have business intent with them and that you have some sort of interest from military and law enforcement. So review your own state's laws, but this is a way to obtain any gun you want in most states, regardless of what your state or law enforcement or the federal government has to say. So good luck. Don't break the law. Make sure you're doing everything right, or else you can get in trouble.